Intense soul contract got you down? Don't know how to navigate it so you can go on with your life already? Well, let me just tell you, there's another way that we can conceptualize these connections that maybe can help you start learning to remember who you are. That's a big key catchphrase. Remembering who we are, we're pure energy. And so if we have another energy coming into our reality that's antagonizing our own ability to stay balanced and okay, then that's their job. And so let's conceive it from that. We remember who we are, we're pure energy, and what is this other energy coming into my life, screwing things around for? It's a little easier to look at than this guy is trauma bonding me. I mean, that's not really helping us. So let's look at it a different way. And in this video, we're going to talk about how our energy gets antagonized by another energy, what that means, how we can balance it, and how we can move on already. Okay, so let's start with remembering who you are. You are energy. I mean, this is science. This is spirituality. This is everything. We are energy. And so we can look at our blueprint through astrology and see, okay, what is my makeup of energy, right? And so for the purpose of this video, we're going to understand why we attract not what we want, but what we are, meaning what we need, what we seek is seeking us. So basically, if we are needing in ourselves some more of an energy that's off balance, then we attract what we need from the other. That would be a strong energy of what is lacking in ourselves. So be with me here, because this is 100% of the time. It might cause you to need to understand more of your chart, but your personal planets, there's not that many. The things that are really antagonizing our journey are very easy. It's, the sun, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Moon, and Chiron. I think Chiron's a huge one. I mean, the collective ones are huge ones too, but we're just going to look at the personal planets, and those are the ones that I think that we can use for the sake of this video. So what I'd like to say is we, until we are whole, in union with ourselves, a Holy Spirit, we will attract what psychology calls a trauma bond, but what I'm calling it is in our dominant imbalance, we will attract to us. And so the reason that we can't get it out of our heart and mind, even though we want to, especially at this stage of the game when the universe is trying to level up, which requires us to become more whole, we will not be able to get them out of their heart because we're missing the energy that they provided us that we needed to be whole. Yeah. So ponder that one for a second. We've been walking around imbalanced, all jacked up, not being a Holy Spirit at love, peace, joy. That's the best way to describe being whole. So we've been walking around in these lower energies of, depression or anger or guilt or whatever those are. And to get whole, we get this person that brings in a lot of the energy that we're in detriment with. And so then we want it. That's codependency. Another way of saying codependency or trauma bonding is we want the energy we're lacking. And so we bond with it. Okay. So somewhere along the line, we thought that the energy we're missing was maybe too much, or we didn't like that part of ourselves. So we rejected it. And so now it's, we're imbalanced in that area. And then this person comes and awakens that. And then we have this thing where we got to learn to cultivate what they're bringing inside of ourselves and not needing it from them. So they're just awakening us to it. Ooh, I like that energy. It's missing in me. How do I cultivate that energy in myself so I don't need it from the outside? Because that's the goal, y'all. We don't want to need anything externally to feel okay. And so what that external energy, when they pull it away, because that's what they're meant to do so that we can wake up to what we're missing. Oh, when they pull it away, I'm falling apart over here, or my mind's doing this. It depends on what planet it is, right? And we'll get to that. But so they're pulling that energy away that made us feel whole. And now we got to figure out, how do we go on? And most of the time we chase the person, but we're really just chasing the energy that's lacking in ourselves. And so I feel like this is a great way to conceptualize how we can start to really apply things rather than just listening to people talk at you about running, chasing, lack of union, this, that. Let's just look at it this way. We are missing our glass. We can't fill our own cup with this. We're halfway full in our cup, and they come and they fill it the rest of the way. But we want to learn to fill this cup of this energy with our own cultivated awareness and fill our own cup. And so I need to make the example now, y'all, because I think you get it. But my example is my biggest detriment in my chart is Mars energy. So what was I attracting? How was it antagonizing me? How did I cultivate more Mars in my own energy body and get to wholeness again? And that will be the key to help you figure out how to do it too. And we'll talk about all the personal planets in a nutshell of what the imbalance is and then how you can find it in your chart, or you can order a guide from me. There's several that I can help you understand what's going on. So let's get to my Mars story. Okay, so going back in time, all the way back, I'm in my 50s now. And when I was in my late teens, I pulled in somebody that was intense, y'all. I was like, whoa. And he was like the best thing that ever happened. So much so that the intensity of it made me run away. So then I went on to the next person who I was actually with for a very, very long time. Okay. And the moment that I started to put together what my main wounding was about the same time I started to conceptualize astrology. And so what was happening is I started to recognize that when I tried to leave this connection, by this time this was my husband and we had been together almost 20 years. When I would try to leave, I was still falling apart. Even though I had built this kingdom, I was at the top of my game of my career, my family, my health. I mean, I was doing it. I was really doing it. But then when I would try to pull away from him, I would just crash and burn, literally. And I started saying why. And that's when I saw that I had Chiron and Aries in the 7th house. Mars energy. I'm missing Mars energy and I am getting it from others. 7th house is about the other. And guess what my husband was? He was in Aries. So I was using his Aries energy to function. And I did that for years. And every time I would try to cut off the connection, I would fall apart because I didn't have enough of the Aries energy cultivated within myself. Okay. So then come to find out, as I started to finally cultivate that within myself, and I was barely holding on, I was like, I'm going to let this go. Then in pops the guy from my late 20s, late teens. And I felt that rush again. You know, mind you, I'm not putting together that they just hold a lot of Martian energy. I'm not doing that yet because this man, my husband was an Aries sun. So I knew he was Aries. Everybody always says, we know people's sun signs, but we don't know the rest of the story, right? Well, come to find out, this guy was an Aries South Node and an Aries Ascendant. Now, ascendants are super crucial, y'all. Aries Sun would have definitely floated my boat, but Aries Ascendant is what people are projecting. This is how you dawn on people. This is the energy that people see. This is your chart ruler. And so Aries Ascendant was bringing me a huge dose of that. And I couldn't handle it before, and I still can't handle it, y'all, to be quite honest. But this is a big, huge key. I think that a lot of times, and I've heard other astrologers say it, but we're not really talking about astrology. We're talking about how we're going to balance these connections, right? So be with me. But so what a lot of people do say is whoever your detriment is in your chart is usually the ascendant of the person you will attract, or some like maybe 12th house energy. So maybe if somebody had Mars in the 12th house for me, that would have been good because it would help me end those Martian patterns. But there's something in the chart that's going to point to this imbalance. The main detriment in your chart, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Chiron, it could be your Saturn, it could be, but see, for me, Saturn's a benefit to me. It's a benefit. Saturn really helps me, and my North Node's in Saturn. There's a lot of other things. So, but Mars is definitely in detriment in my chart, not only from the Chiron, but I have Mars in Pisces where it doesn't like to be, and that would be, you know, and it's in my 6th house. So, I mean, there's other things where I can put together that Mars is my detriment. Then it would help me to feel when I pull in people with a lot of Mars energy, I suck that up and use it to become passionate about a project, to, you know, be romantic, to be, and then without that person like that, I fall apart. And I really put it together because I have a son who's in Aries Ascendant, and he came to stay with me for a month, and I had so much energy. but also he was aggressive. So Mars has a lot of, of its own negative tendencies where I put together, I couldn't deal with that with my husband. I couldn't deal with it with my son. But as soon as my son left, I lost all my mojo again. So guess what? I'm learning to cultivate Martian energy within myself. And the more I do that, the less those people that have a lot of Mars energy antagonize me in my imbalances, because that's all they're doing. They're providing me with the energy that I have a lack of in my own sense of energy. And then they bring it and I get a whoop, like a shock of, yay, I was missing this. And then I kind of chase it. But as I got more awake, I'm like, I don't want to chase it. I want to cultivate that feeling within myself. And that is the key, y'all, right there. Once you recognize what your detriment, imbalance, what you're lacking in yourself, and you put it together that's what you're seeking out there to feel better. And that's why you get in codependency, or you chase, or whatever it is you do, or you run like me. Then you can start cultivating that feeling that it's providing. Stop pinning it to a person and understand the energy. Remember who you are, your energy, their energy. And you can cultivate in yourself. And what happens immediately, which now in hindsight, I can see what happened with my ex-husband and what I'm working on with every other Aryan type energy that comes in my life, that I've cultivated it so much in myself that I don't snatch onto it and get myself into a soul contract. Okay. Yeah. Because the cool thing about this is also recognize we're attracting the person that needs what we have too. And in my case, just think about what Mars is. Mars is looked at as like divine masculine. We're just going to say it at the rudimentary terms. Divine masculine. Who's divine feminine? Venus. I'm a Libra ascendant and a Taurus sun. I am ruled by Venus. I have a shit ton of Venus energy, almost to the point of woo. I will just be like, it's all love, guys. And some people are like, oh my God, this girl. But the thing is that what do people that have a lot of Aries energy need? They need a little bit of Venus, right? And so I'm also recognizing not to go into negative Venus with the people that are giving me a lot of Aries energy, because then that would take them into aggression and triggers and whatever. If I'm in my negative Venus, and now I'm going off on a tangent, but I'm sure you can understand that it's always about providing us balance. And once that soul contract gets balanced and it's achieved, either you're both going to stay and you're going to have your own cups filled, and you won't need that codependency, trauma bonding, toxic relating stuff going on. You will literally just each have full cups. So regardless of where you are on your journey, you have to integrate this. We have to become Holy Spirits. So let's look at the other planets and where their detriments are, because maybe that'll jog some things for you. I'll just tell you the expressions so you can understand the imbalanced part and how it feels when it's whole. And then we'll get to the nitty gritty for you and how you can start applying this to your life and any soul contract that's taking you to the depths of hell or antagonizing you or driving you bananas. Let's do it. Let's balance it out on our own, cultivate that energy, and get on with our lives. Okay, so I brought up my Mars example. That's the detriment of my chart. If you had like a Venus detriment, then you would not be able to, stand on your core values. Maybe, and so let's just say you didn't have that and you pulled in somebody that had a strong Venus energy, and they would start saying things to you like, let's say you wanted to go out with your friends. You're like, I'm going to go out with my friends, get drunk, this, that. And that person started to recognize your patterns. Like, you don't even like to go out. You actually complain the next day. You complain about the friends you out with, that they never have money and you have to pay for them. You did this, that, the other. It just sounds like you're kind of going along with what you're supposed to do on a Friday. Since you've been 21, you've been doing that. But do you really value that? Or would you value just staying at home, but you can't say no? Venus is a people pleaser energy because of the love aspect, but it also is about values and understanding your values. So the lower end of Venus might be people pleasing, even if it's not what you value at the top end. And so somebody who has a lot of Venus imbalance comes into your life because you don't. They'll show you that. And then when they pull back and you get triggered, it's because they're not helping you with that balance. And so you want them to come back, because then you could start making bad decisions again. You could be doing all these things, but you just have to cultivate the Venus energy in you. And so how that would look is maybe a South Node or Saturn in Libra, or Chiron in Libra, or, you know, the examples I gave, those were kind of Libra things. You know, like Taurus, they'll have other issues. Like if you have Chiron in Taurus, you would think that your sense of self was based in the, you know, you always wear the best clothes and you have the best attitude, and, you know, just you have the nicest car. You're trying to really, you know, I stay at a job forever. You know, that's kind of a Virgo thing too. But so with the Virgo, let's move into Mercury, because Mercury is about how you are able to process information, communicate, teach, learn, move ahead with your mind, you know, help you get out of, you know, bad situations. And so this would really display in somebody who's felt intellectually challenged, communication challenged, shy, passive aggressive, those type of things, and then get somebody who's extremely smart coming into their lives and really is able to dominate conversations. And, you know, you would pull them in, and then, you know, if they tried to leave, you would feel like you lost that, you know, ability that they were showing you. And so how you would do that is you would start to cultivate all of the mercurial energies into your life. What you would find start to happen is, and this is not just, you're not cultivating this in yourself so that you can be a better person. Yes, but for the sake of this video, we're cultivating this inside of us so that we can get to union with ourselves and wholeness in the very area of the part of our lives where somebody's antagonizing us, triggering us when they pull and push their energy. And once we have it cultivated in ourselves, that won't be a key issue anymore. And there's so many people going through that. So I just want to make that clear. We're not doing this because we want to, you know, grow. Yes, we do want to grow. But I'm saying the point of this video is we're doing this so that we can stop being triggered and going through despair and agony over a soul connection, because it's really not the person that we're seeking, it's the energy imbalance that they brought that whole feeling to us, and then they pull it away, and that gets us in a trauma bond, right? So let's go into the sun. The sun is good. The sun is about our self-expression, about our identity, our ability to lead. So if you have you know, let's just say Saturn and Leo, you would have a real hard time with self-expression. I've noticed that a lot of people with this type of detriment, especially with Leo, would be, they kind of follow along with the collective and they can't go into their own self-expression, you know, and they could be called chameleons. Like when they're around this group of people, they're jiving with that, and then when we're around this, so they have no sense of their own self and they can't express that. They're not true to their own heart. You know, Leo rules the heart. And so then you would pull in somebody that's super strong, Leo, you know, and you would just feel that energy, but it would also trigger you. That's the other thing, is that when we're pulling in these soul contracts, we're seeing them and we get triggered by them because we're judging ourselves that we can't do what they're doing. So then we project that what they're doing is wrong in some sort of way, right? So that's another aspect of it. And that's how we get into the animus and anime of things, because it's just showing us, you know, some belief systems that we need to get rid of. But yeah, so for the sun, that would be a good one. Projector on Mars. I think that we should just say again about all of these, you know, especially Chiron, because Chiron is the wounded healer. So it's our deepest wound that we walk around with. And then as we age and we get in our 50s, we heal it completely, and then we help others through that. And so to me, the way that it's transitioning, and it gets the squares at, I think, 30 to 40, and then into 50, we get, you know, a lot of profound alignments to Chiron. My point being that I think Chiron's the main one where we have an imbalance. And so I'm not saying in every chart that that's your detriment, but it is definitely a huge key. So wherever that is, you could be pulling in somebody. And that's the hard part too, because it might not be their sun. Like I said, most of the time for me, what I've noticed in charts, it's like their north node or their ascendant, something where they're meant, or south node, because south node is a very dominant past life, past pattern energy. So south node in Aries, I attracted that, right? With my Mars, issues of imbalance. So those are things to look at, but I just want to bring that up because I do, again, offer readings, and I'm going to be offering guides. So you can get a Chiron guide, which will be personalized to you. You just need to give me your, birth date. I can do it without time when it relates to Chiron. And really just kind of tell you the imbalances, how you can cultivate the feeling inside yourself. And this is no woo-woo stuff, guys. I just want to say this is physics. The universe is always looking to restore balance, and all these contracts are coming in for you. No matter how you label them, you have to do this work here. So get on it. I'm going to also offer a Saturn guide. Saturn guide is super important because it helps you get in your destiny. And then that would also be your destiny guide, which will be about your north node. But all of these things are helping you get into balance so that you can do what you wrote in your blueprint. And then your life isn't as sucky because you're aligned. It's another way to get to alignment and wholeness with yourself, with the universe, with God, with everyone around you. So let's just start looking at remembering who we are. We are energy, and it's not the person, it's what's happening between us energetically that is making it bring us closer or boomerang us apart. And we got to learn to get to wholeness, fill our own cup, and then we won't have any of that. No more of this chaos, no more of this pain, right? All right, so I hope that helps, and I hope it all was understood, but get on it, look at your chart, hit me up for a reading, or whatever it is you need to do. Just navigate your soul contracts in a different way. Just don't watch twin flame videos about the runner coming back and this and that. Do the integration, y'all. This is a tale as old as time, and we can do this. We are going to raise the collective back to wholeness. So get on it. All right, untangent. If you like the video, please like, share, subscribe, and until next time, take care.